to the Deadlights podcast. I'm your host, Sam.
And I'm your other host, Leslie, and we're bringing you yet another slasher, another horror, another
Another
this
scream.
week. Another scream.
That's the new slogan. I liked all of that.
Thank you.
Get that all printed on a shirt.
I want to see that written down.
Yeah, I want to see it paragraph, stanza, and printed. Let us know in the comments if you want to see it too. Oh man. Anyway, welcome back. We're back to doing the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Here at the same place.
I'm excited. Yeah. I live here.
You live here.
Well, kind of.
That used to be what I would say, because we used to do it in the place where I lived, and then we switched over to the place that you lived. So
We're taking turns.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's joint custody.
Next season, who knows? Maybe we'll be outside in an alley.
Who knows? You'll have to tune in to find out what season 4 holds. But you know, this season we've actually been getting a lot of French movies.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of French movies.
Yeah.
Which I am enjoying.
It would be really nice if we can like do the season finale in France. Just kind of to like tie it with a beautiful bow.
That'd be great.
Because yeah.
On the Eiffel Tower.
On the Eiffel, up in the top.
It's really windy up here.
Ah!
You can hear us. We're trying to review a horror movie, but au revoir. That'd be great. Let us know in the comments if you want to see that. Because I definitely do. That'd be awesome.
That'd be fantastic.
That'd be a great way to celebrate it.
It's just like, yeah, what is this, the 4th?
This will be the 4th, which I guess, fine, we'll reveal it.
Yeah, what did we watch?
We watched High Tension from 2003, directed by Alexandre Aja, written by Alexandre Aja and Gregory Levasseur. Best friends Marie and Alexia decide to spend a quiet weekend at Alexia's parents' secluded farmhouse. But on the night of their arrival, the girls' idyllic getaway turns into an endless night of horror. As we've seen with a lot of the French movies that we've watched, we start on a pretty dark place and we don't really leave that dark place, and it pretty much hits us over the head with a lot of violence and a lot of gore and a lot of fucked up stuff just pretty relentlessly through this film. So
it was never ending.
Never ending. Well, turns into an endless night of horror. Endless. It was. And that's what it really felt like. I think for this movie was definitely a thrill ride, which was super fun.
I just want to just remind everyone that I saw this in theaters, and it was one of the most fucked up movies that I had seen since, just because I didn't dip my toes in any slasher films or any like Saw movies. And yeah, seeing it again since I think we said I was 10. Yeah, that shit like dug deep into my core.
Yoicks. Yeah, to a 10-year-old, that'll do something. That'll leave an impression.
I mean, this is why I'm demented.
Here we are. Almost 21 years later, revisiting it. So you haven't seen it since you were 10?
No.
Okay. Wow.
No, not at all.
This will be interesting. Should we get into it?
Absolutely.
Let's talk about this thing in the can. Open it up. So I think a big thing with this movie, first and foremost, is the colors. These intense blues and intense oranges throughout the whole film. And I think that something that I always appreciate when we're watching these movies is, as the story is unfolding, so is the development of the actual filmmaking and the lighting evolves along with the story. So in this movie, the idyllic place that we start with, these like oranges with beautiful farmhouses and these bright, vibrant colors that were super saturated, eventually turn into deep blues, dark blues as the night approaches. And then the oranges are just like little accents along in the screen because it's been completely enveloped by the blue. And
I mean, we also saw a lot of red.
Definitely
a lot of red.
And that came from the blood.
And it was very intentional to pair the reds and the orange with the blues, because they are contrasting, and it just like becomes a very pleasing kind of like cinematography. We were experimenting with a lot of angles. It's like jarring. Not only are you getting these awful images, but then you're like the displacement of how they're captured is just, ooh.
It makes everything feel off kilter in the movie. Something isn't right. And even in the beginning part, when it was idyllic, we have the sense that something is off. Because then by the end, when we realize everything that is happening, that also makes sense, because from the start, everything was off.
And the acting was phenomenal. The type of acting that the French people have is so like real. It's realistic. It's painful. Like you can just like see when Marie was like crying, her veins in her neck and on her face would pop out. And that is like someone who's like holding a lot of tension, and she was holding her breath because she was being quote unquote stalked.
Alex, j'ai besoin d'aide, je peux rien faire toute seule, tu comprends? Je reviens. Faut pas qu'il sache qu'il y a quelqu'un d'autre dans la maison.
I mean, we've seen these French films now a couple times, and there's a lot of hurt and a lot of pain that are trying to be expressed through these films. And these actors do a very good job of adding that layer of realness to these themes that we're trying to explore, which are pain, a lot of pain, a lot of heartache.
Lots of pain.
Yeah.
They're also very auditory. And it's supposed to like be unnerving.
Yeah.
Because you're being stalked by someone and all you're hearing is just like the sounds of them moving, the rubber and
moans and groans.
It makes him sound like a fucking predator.
Yeah.
I mean, he is.
Yeah.
He is.
Especially with like the rubber boots, you then start to associate that sound with danger. And so you're listening for those sounds. It makes those sounds scary. They did a great job with the sound effects in this film to fill in the world of living in this experience, which is a crazy experience to go through, a home invasion. That's insane. So it's another layer to add to this realness. Well, should we get into the meat?
Yeah, let's do
talk
it.
about it? So as we kind of started to already talk about, this is definitely talking about, in some ways, relationships. At first when the movie started and we started to go and the home invasion happened, I honestly didn't think that the movie was trying to say much about anything. I was just kind of like, oh, this feels just like an experience kind of movie where they're relying on the fact that people are really scared of a random home invasion. Like there's no rhyme, no reason to it. It could just happen out of nowhere. And what would happen in that situation? And we're all kind of now just sitting in this ride of what could play out in a home invasion. I thought that's all the movie was going to be, really. I thought we're going to get to the end and we either made it or we didn't, and now we're getting out of here. But no. Then at the end, when there was that twist, it became about so many more things, like talking about relationships and toxic relationships and unrequited love, and how far is too far.
We entered the movie with a beautiful, just kind of like friendship, and you can kind of see that they've been maybe friends for a while.
In this first scene that we meet them, you can tell that there's a little bit of distance between the two of them because Marie, who's the main character, is talking about how Alex is just sleeping around. And you can tell that Marie is judging Alex a little bit for that, but I think that actually is coming more of a place of jealousy.
Ouais, ben c'est ta faute. Tu m'as pas planté au milieu de la soirée pour disparaître pendant 3 heures. J'espère que ça valait le coup au moins.
Ah oui, super cool même.
Espèce de salope.
It also became very clear after Marie saw Alex showering and then immediately went and masturbated. So that made it pretty abundantly clear that she had some feelings for her.
Yeah.
And what I liked about this movie was that because we're along with Marie the whole time, we're seeing her just through her eyes. So we're kind of seeing and sympathizing with the fact that this is kind of like an unrequited love. You want it to be more than just a friendship, but you're not sure how they feel about that. You're not sure if it would be reciprocated. And then this horrible thing happens that puts you in the position of testing, like, how far would you really go for the person that you love? And that was this whole movie, was us watching Marie go through so many obstacles to save her best friend and the person that she loved. Then at the end, it put everything in a different context, switched that perspective. It made us completely mistrust the perspective that we've been in the whole time, when it's revealed that Marie is actually the one who's the killer, and pretty much played out a fantasy of being both the hero, saving Alex, and also the villain, murdering her whole family and kidnapping her. It was just really smart because it caught me off guard. So I really enjoyed what it ended up talking about, which is toxic love.
Yeah, when I first watched it, not only were the deaths in this film brutal, but like that twist really fucked me over. And at 10, I mean, yeah, it was a little bit shocking too, just because like I hadn't seen two girls kiss on film, so I was just like, wow, I'm gay.
Because that has to be part of it too. Absolutely. I mean, I think that at the beginning of the movie, Marie has to be somewhat questioning if she revealed how she really feels to Alex. First of all, would she feel the same way back? And second of all, is she also a lesbian? How far does that push her to show her love to this person? She has to split her personality and become a man to show it in a really fucked up way.
Tu m'aimes pas. Tu m'aimes pas. Tu m'aimes pas.
Yeah, so there's definitely gender that has to be a part of this too.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely did seem like that's where they were headed. But this movie is really smart to confuse you because Marie encounters several times the serial killer. So then you are left confused at the end when the reveal is that like she and the serial killer were one person. You're like, okay, so then like, are you alone? Like playing this out by yourself? I actually appreciate that we didn't see those scenes. We only saw it when the police are like reviewing the security cameras. We get that perspective of her being the one killing people, and I like that because it makes sense to include that. It's logical.
Yes. And
any other scenes I think that would have fed into just like them being like, and she was him the whole time, I think it would have just been like too overdone, like spoon fed.
Well, and it got me too because we got to that point and I was like, we did it. We defeated the killer pretty fucking crazy barbed wire stick. Pretty cool. Good head smash. Kill that guy.
Good
that
smash.
fucker. And then we cut to the police, and I'm like, oh, these guys finally showed up. Well, they're useless assholes. I thought it was just going to be like an epilogue scene of them like looking at the security camera footage, being like, wow, we really missed out. I guess we're late. But no. Here comes Marie with the axe.
Je l'ai tué, Alex, c'est fini, il est mort. Tu as massacré toute ma famille, Qu'est-ce que tu racontes, Alex? Je pouvais rien faire pour les sauver, tu le sais bien. Il n'y a que toi. Calme-toi.
She was the killer the whole time.
But also, like, what was she really driving? Was she driving that truck?
That was
Where
my
did she
question.
find it?
That was my main question the whole time. I'm like, okay, wait, where'd she get this creepy ass truck from in this place that she's presumably never been?
Never been.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In this like very rural part of France.
And also, there's that scene. This scene always confuses me. We come to this really rusty, suspicious car, and the serial killer's in there, and you just see like a head, and you see like he's receiving head.
Yes.
And that scene always confuses me because she and Alex are just arriving to the house.
That's not.
So that's not her. So that must be imagined. That's just like in her head what she's thinking she can do and get away with. Right?
Yes, because I also thought about that scene as well. Maybe we should get to the cook, actually. That makes sense of why we're talking
That's
about
a cookie?
It's a cookie.
It's a cookie.
A little cookie for the thought, because yes, we're talking about, you know, this person pretty much going crazy for love and splitting their personality to convey their love to this person. But inherently when you do that, like you said, we do have to have a moment of going back in the movie and trying to figure out logically, how did that happen? And this scene that you're talking about, when does that happen? Where does that happen? Is that real? Is that a fantasy that Marie's playing out in her head?
It must be a fantasy.
I mean, yeah.
But then also like the truck. Like
The truck. Where did the truck come from?
That's where all this like confusion comes from, and that's how they're able to get you at the end and be like, she was the fucking guy this whole time. Because there's a lot of like not loopholes, but just like
Plot holes.
Potholes.
But there's a lot of potholes on the ground. Plot holes.
Holes. A lot of plot
holes.
holes.
What are these potholes? Yeah, you're right. You're right. I had a couple of questions at the end of the movie about that kind of stuff too, of like, okay, logically, because presumably you want someone to watch a movie twice. You want them to go back now, knowing the twist and like seeing the Easter eggs that you put in there along the way to do that. But then when you start actually questioning it, it's like, oh wait, how did that actually play out? How real is the truck? It has to be somewhat real because she really did
grab things like
grab
she
things
was
out of the truck and
like,
put Alex in the truck. In a truck. Yeah, I don't know.
It's strange.
It's not holding up that well. Logically, unfortunately.
Logically, no.
Because that's the whole thing. I think that this movie, like we already said, it was well written. It was well acted and well shot. It had like all those things going for it. And there was this cool line before the home invasion started when Marie comes into the house for the first time and she's like looking around and like so amazed at like how big this house is.
Comment tu trouves? On dirait une chambre de poupée.
And I wrote that down because I was like, that's got to be implying something later. And it turns out it kind of seems like it's going towards Marie's need to play out a fantasy. What do you use a dollhouse for but to play out fantasies? So she's using these people, this family, to play out this fantasy of her saving the day for Alex.
Mm-hmm.
And
Wow.
finally being enough for her.
That's a good tie. I like that. I didn't even think about that.
That's on them. Good job, writers. That I botched your names at the beginning. I'm sorry, but good job.
John Gabriel.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Well, let's get to the thrill.
Let's do it.
Talk about our killer. For the most part, at the beginning, or for the most of the movie, we thought it was this just random dude. Just crazy guy.
Plumber trucker guy. I don't
Plumber
know.
trucker. Yeah.
Plumber trucker.
He fixes toilets on trucks. But they did a good job, I thought, of, not really showing his face that much. They were using high angles and low angles and his hat to obscure him in different ways. So we couldn't really see him exactly. And then he had this like robotic movement about him where, yeah, it felt like he's been doing this for years. It felt like he was also a little bit older too, probably a man in his 50s. And so it felt like he's been doing this for a very long time and just been getting away with it.
Yeah, he reminded me of Mike Myers. Michael Myers?
Michael Myers, yeah.
Mike.
Our friend
We're
Mike.
tight like that.
Well, good. Then he won't kill you, maybe.
Oh, that's true.
Nice.
Yeah, you befriend your enemies.
Frenemies.
Frenemies. I'm frenemies with Mike Myers.
Mike.
No, that Mike Myers is the actor.
Yeah.
Michael Myers.
Michael Myers.
Oh, God.
Pretty brutal, and we saw everything. And they used... We already talked about it a little bit in the can, but I wanted to talk about it again. They used the sound effects to imply a lot of the horror, too. Like, as Marie was kind of moving throughout the house, we heard people screaming in the background. So they use these sound effects to heighten the horror and make us have to imagine what's going on.
Yeah,
which is worse.
It is worse. It is definitely worse because I don't want it in my head.
No.
Oh man,
put it there.
those noises were terrible, terrible.
I guess we do also have to talk about Marie, because in the end she was the bad guy, and turns out this whole time she was the bad man, and also herself, going back and forth in her mind. She was eventually put in an insane asylum in the end, and still seemed like she was living in this fantasy. So her unhingedness reveal at the end, definitely scary.
It is pretty interesting to have a gay character be the bad guy, just because I hope we're not demonizing the fact that she is lesbian, and saying that all lesbians or gay people are, crazy and obsessive and could fucking kill you. I hope we're not saying that. I hope it can just be a story about, like a person who so happens to be gay, but I don't know. We're going to read it however we interpret it. And
that seems like it has to be part of it, though, because what pushed Marie to not reveal her feelings towards Alex? Was it the fact that she was just nervous to say that she liked her? Or was it the fact that there's shame around being gay? And was it that what eventually pushed her to feel like she had to do these extreme things and murder and commit violence towards these people because of that societal shame?
She had the mantra at the end.
Je laisserai plus jamais personne se mettre entre nous. Mettre entre
I also hope that it could just be about two people, but I do think that it has to be part of the discussion because it is part of the story.
I wanted to just mention that this is more of the cook area.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, I just thought of it and I was like, hey, let's not exclude this conversation because it's clearly, like it was back in 2003. The topics of, you know, being gay and stuff had been talked about over and over again, but early 2000s was kind of a rather strange. I think we went back to like being gay as not being accepted all that much. Like, okay, we know that like there's gay people and they can live about and move about, but just don't say anything.
Yeah.
Don't reveal it. We don't care. So that's pretty hard. So yeah, I think her then Marie going about and being ashamed of her sexuality, because I think she does know that it's not reciprocated.
No.
And I think that's part of the like fun for her, you know, quote unquote serial killer like persona. Like,
Half.
ew,
Yeah.
ugh. That's so scary. That's your other half, like of your brain.
Putain, je viens de faire un rêve super bizarre. J'étais dans une forêt en train de courir pieds nus. J'étais blessée et je crois que quelqu'un me poursuivait. Plus je courais, plus je sentais qu'il se rapprochait. C'était pas un mec, je crois que c'était moi. Comme si je me courais après.
Tu peux pas faire des rêves normaux comme tout le monde.
Non.
Let's get to the final ride. I think that this movie was definitely a thrill ride from the get. I mean, we've already mentioned
From the get.
From the get. We've already mentioned it that you're on a roller coaster from the beginning of this movie. We're starting at the end too. So they kind of throw you off immediately and then we just go straight into the endless night of horror. At every moment we were either trying to avoid the killer, trying to overcome a obstacle with something, trying to save someone. They did a really good job of keeping that heightened and escalating actions for us to really keep engaged with the movie.
Yeah, for sure. And like the kills became even more heightened as well. So
They really
they did a really good job driving this movie. I like the pacing of it. And this and Martyr just got started right away. Like gave you a quick introduction, but it wasn't like you were deprived from any like you like got to meet everyone before things escalated.
Right.
But
As much as you needed to know.
yeah, exactly. It wasn't like you were not getting enough information or like a lot of, like it wasn't over or under.
Yeah.
You know?
It was
So
perfect medium rare.
yeah.
Medium rare right there in the middle.
Medium rare.
Yummy. High tension.
High tension.
From 2003.
Holy shit.
What a ride. We're back in
God
the station.
Damn.
Please don't forget.
Doors open on the left.
Doors open on the left. Don't forget your purses and bags and buzzsaws.
Yeah, take that with you, please.
Let's get to the Smash Pumpkins.
Let's mushroom.
Do you have a number? Do you want me to go?
Yeah, I have a number.
You got a number?
I have a number.
Hit him.
I'm gonna give this a 4.
4.
A 4. Yeah, I think it was pretty nostalgic. Sadly for me, I relived some of that kind of moments in where when I first saw it, I was absolutely appalled. I was like taken aback. It was like among the first very gory movies that I had seen. And so since it was such a long time ago, I didn't remember the entirety
Yep.
of the film. So that was really fun being able to like see it with you, especially because from the get-go, from the beginning of the Deadlights, I've been talking about this movie.
Very true.
So
I'm glad we finally pulled it.
I know.
We're here.
We're here.
We're here, brother.
We're here, brother.
Yeah.
But yeah, the reason why I'm giving it a 4 is because the script is pretty good.
Yep.
I think it holds up. In the senses that like the stuff that we've talked about, what makes it a horror film. It gave us some really cool deaths. The popping of that fucking head was, God, I forgot that happened.
What a kickoff. It was just a good way, because that was the first kill of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're just like, okay, I guess that's what we're in for this movie.
There's a reason as to why this was talked about for so long, and it carried that French extremism title for a little bit, and then Martyr came out, and you're just like,
Damn.
Let's just keep getting worse.
Crazier. These guys just know how to make it worse.
I know.
I don't know
Yeah,
how.
and then the acting was just like great. It just like adds to the elements of like the movie just being successful in that sense.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that the realism of this movie really shined through. You know, between the acting and how they shot it, it's just very gritty. You're down,
Even
in there.
Yeah, you're in there, and even down to the color of the blood. I know this sounds awful and gory, but like it is a pretty color.
It feels like they nailed it.
Yeah, there's just some films that use that really bright 1970s, like we're clearly using paint.
Yeah.
And I know there's certain people out there that blood is that color, but there's something about like the deep red burgundy kind of color that just kind of is very saturated.
Yeah.
In the sense, it's just real. It looks more real.
Yeah.
Anyway.
It does. And it feels, I don't know, it feels dirtier for some reason to me. So yeah, I don't know. It definitely adds to the horror of
Yes,
everything
it
that's
does.
going on. And I think they really did a great job of sending us on a thrill ride for the whole movie. I think that when we got to the twist, I really did like that. It kind of set the whole movie in a different context, and I really enjoyed that experience of being able to think back to the whole movie and be like, oh my God, like that changes everything. I think that once you get down to it, some of the logic stuff doesn't really make sense. We're kind of left a little confused with how these things actually happened. And then I think that too, like kind of the whole gay conversation, lesbian relationship that was portrayed in this movie, I don't think was necessarily the best of how they represented, you know, the villain being the gay character. And even at the end, you know, she's like still obsessed with Alex after, you know, being in this institute, chained up. So yeah, I kind of took issue with that a little bit, but in general, I do like this kind of representation of a toxic relationship and where it can push you. And that's really scary. And we saw that in Martyrs too. We saw that it really just revolves around these bad relationships that people get themselves in, or these points that they get themselves to when they're in a toxic relationship. That is the true horror. Like, wow, how far are you willing to go for love in a bad way? Yikes, that's scary.
Yeah.
They did that very well.
And
yeah.
I was just gonna mention, with that being said, like how willing are you wanting to be? How like I guess I don't know what I'm trying to say. Like how, oh my God, what am I like?
I can't wait to hear.
I feel like it's the fucking interview scene with Emma Stone and Edward Garfield. Edward Garfield?
Andrew Garfield?
Andrew Garfield.
Do you, okay, if you,
Yeah. Yes.
what
Yes.
is, all right.
No.
Okay. If you could have if you could have everything that you ever wanted in the palm of your hand, okay. Seriously.
How deep are you willing to go into your delusion
Yes.
to live there? Nothing is real. So in order for things to be real, quote unquote, you have to do some extreme things to achieve that.
Yeah. Yes. And go
And
very,
that's scary.
very, very far inside yourself.
Inside yourself.
Yes.
All
For
right.
all those reasons, I'm going to give it
Oh yeah, sorry, my bad.
a 3. 3 Smash Pumpkins.
3 Smash Pumpkins.
Very fun. I had a great time. I'm glad we got to see this on the pod. High Tension, thank you very much.
Thank
We
you.
bid you au revoir.
We do have a number that you can call us.
Just a little ring. A little ring. Just
Ring.
Tell us what you want.
How do you pick up the phone? You're not a iPhone?
I'm a FaceTimer.
Hey guys. I'm
No,
Jojo Siwa. Hey guys.
If you're listening to this, you don't know what you just missed. You can never understand what you just missed.
Ew, erase that. Don't ever show that. I never want to
It's going
be
in.
seen doing the fucking dance.
All right. Well,
Anyways.
yikes.
773-669-6677.
Call us. Tell us what you think about that.
Yeah.
That what just happened.
Oh God. And if you are hearing it, I'm so happy you didn't see it. Congratulations. You get to live another day.
Yeah.
Give us a ring. Let us know how much you love us and you love horror.
That's it. That's all we want to hear.
That's all we want to hear.
Yep. Nothing else.
Just praises.
Yeah.
You can also follow me on Instagram and color me Leslie.
And me at BPPritchyT. You can also follow us at the Deadlights Pod.
You may.
You can, and you should.
And you should. Please.
But until next time, let's get spooky.
Ooh.
You aren't who you say you are.
Ah, jigga, 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 jigga.
Jigga, 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 jigga.